Hi everyone, good afternoon. It is Sarah Shipton here from Scrapbooking with Sarah, and I'm coming live to you today on Tuesday, the 14th of July with this week's Technique Tuesday, and we are going to be playing with a fun new product this week. It's called the Rounded Rectangle Punch. I cannot wait to share it with you. For those of you that were at my catalogue launch and open house back in May, you guys got to have a play with this already. So some of you have actually already seen this new tool, and for most of you, I will be introducing it to you, and I cannot wait because it is such a quick and easy tool to have in your collection to create a really cute little embellishment cluster, which you can see here in the top and the bottom left and right hand corner of my double page scrapbooking layout. So welcome to those of you that are watching live. I've got Miss Sonia here. Now I am going to start doing my Technique Tuesday lives on YouTube. There was some technical requirements that I had to meet in order to be able to do that live on Tuesday. On YouTube. And we are set up for that, but I need to get my head around it. And you may have seen I was away in the beautiful Clare Valley on the weekend for a girlfriend's birthday camping, which was just fantastic. And now I'm here and sharing this beautiful layout with you today. Hi, Pauline. I hope you are enjoying sunny Ballina. I definitely have that spot on my camping wish list for sure. Okay, so let's get straight into this week's challenge. We are creating a double page spread, and I am using the front and center basic pattern. It is on page 78 of the Reflections scrapbook program. This is an old how-to pattern book I had on the shelf, and we are going back to basics with our patterns. So this is 5K. I love this double page layout, and I'm going to give you some tips on how to save your paper to do this double page layout. Now, I have used white willow cardstock again for my base pages for this layout, and if you watched my Technique Tuesday last week, the pattern is very similar from last week's, and I did also use the white willow cardstock then for the base pages. So what it suggests that you do with your paper dimensions is that you use some designer series paper or pattern paper as your background paper. Now, if you are to do that, if you've got some paper that you want to use up, 100% go for that. However, these green, this is Mossy Meadow, this Mossy Meadow strips, these were leftover papers I had from my Life in Bloom scrapbooking workshop kit. So this is a great way to use up your scraps. So instead of me using designer series paper as my base, I've used white willow cardstock, and then I have cut individual strips and then just built the page from the bottom up. Okay, so if you would like to replicate what I've done, let me start with the middle piece because that's going to be the easiest way to do the math. I actually created this layout last week and then scheduled it to post while I was still away yesterday. So this middle piece here, this is a Blackberry Bliss dotted designer series paper, and I'm going to be introducing you to these neutrals designer series paper today. This middle bit through here, you're going to cut that middle bit at 6 by 12 inches. Okay, now this yellow piece through here, this Darling Duckling strip, that is meant to be at 7 inches, but then if you stick this 6-inch strip over the top of that 7-inch strip, then you're covering all that paper. So I cut this at 6 inches, and this is a great tip, especially with these new designer series paper. You only get one sheet of these neutrals patterns. So if you've got one sheet of 12 by 12 paper and you cut that in half, then you can use that 6-inch strip right across the middle of your double page layout. Okay, so that is a great tip for you. If you've only got one sheet of designer series paper, cut it in half and you can spread it across the layout. So these two strips here of Darling Duckling were also used from my leftovers from my Life in Bloom scrapbooking workshop kit, and I've cut them at 1/2 inch each. So I've got 6 inches here and another inch here, which is 7. That leaves me 5 inches to add up to the 12. So these green strips, I've cut them at 2.5 inches each. So if you're going to replicate this, you'll need 4 pieces at 2.5 inches each. You'll need 4 pieces at 1/2 inch strips, and then you'll need 2 pieces cut at a 6-inch strip. Okay, so then I've just started by sticking my Mossy Meadow strip at the bottom, then my Darling Duckling strip, then this Spotted Blackberry Bliss, then this next 1/2 inch, and then finishing with this 2.5 inch strip. So I've just started at the bottom and worked my way up. Okay, so that for me is the easiest way for explaining that. Now, if you want to do it as the paper dimensions instruct, then you'll need a 12-inch piece of designer series paper. You'll cut this big piece through the middle at 7 inches, and then this piece through the middle at 6 inches, okay? And then you're pretty much just putting this 6-inch strip in the middle, so you want to align that up in the middle of your 12-inch layout. So the middle of this will be at 6 inches. And that's going to be on top of this 7-inch piece. So it's up to you how you want to do it. It's going to depend on whether you, how much paper that you've got. But what I do want to do before we get into the technique is I want to share some of these gorgeous papers with you, because I actually said I was going to do that last week and I completely forgot to show you. Before I do that though, let's talk about my photo dimensions running through the middle. I've actually opted for the alternate pattern. So I have got 4x4-inch photos, and these are running straight through the middle of my layout. And then I've got a flip flap on the end here, a 4x4-inch flip flap, where I've just stuck that photo over the top of my memory protector. And these photos were actually taken last year in Brisbane. We went to the convention centre in South Bank for an on-stage event. And then I had a day to myself afterwards just to unwind and enjoy beautiful South Brisbane, spent some time reading by the pool, took myself out for brunch and admired all the beautiful gardens and street art strolling around Brisbane. So I do love days like these. I love to scrapbook my travel photos. And how fun that this cute photo here, this was the hotel we stayed in, and how fun that this cute photo here with the purple, the Blackberry Bliss, and the greens just goes perfectly with this particular colour palette. So let's get into the gorgeous papers we're working with this month. We've had a few more people join us. Hi, Doreen. Hi, Emily. Hi, Kathy. It's so great to see you girls. Let's bring these designer series papers into view so I can share these with you. Now, this is the scrapbooking workshop kit that we are working with for July. It's called Life in Bloom. There's also a coordinating suite called Valley in Bloom, which goes with it. And if you've got your catalogue, you're going to find these products. The scrapbooking workshop kit is on page 24 and 25. You've got some coordinating scrapbooking products down the bottom here. And then there is a suite collection as well on pages 22 and 23. So I will post links to all the products that I am sharing with you today. You can see I've got my leftovers in here, and I've got a second pack of the designer series paper, which I bought just on my own. So I did have some leftover stickers. Quite often when I make the scrapbooking workshop kit layouts up, they can be quite heavy on the stickers, or they'll use 2 journaling boxes on either side of the layout. And this is how I've managed to get my journal box to embellish on this side. This was an extra journaling box that was left over from my scrapbooking workshop kit. So I've used that on my right hand side, and you can see I've used one of the title stickers that are left over, and then I've used some of the floral stickers left over as well from my scrapbooking workshop kit. And I still have some stickers left which I can make for some extra layouts. Okay, so I want to show you the designer series paper. Now, some of this designer series paper you will get in your scrapbooking workshop kit, and then some of it, this is actually the designer series paper from the pack that I've bought separate just on its own. I didn't get a second pack with stickers, so this is the pack that you can purchase just on its own. Now, all your papers are going to be double-sided, okay? You've got this gorgeous lilies here in Mossy Meadow. You've got the Darling Duckling pattern. I like that floral one as well, Darling Duckling. And then we've got some of the white and Mossy Meadow. This is gorgeous. This is a scene sheet of paper. And then this one has the scene the whole way around as like a border. And then we've got some basic grey crosshatch pattern, and then also this cute sort of diamond shaped pattern as well. And then we've got some more of the greenery, which you can see is quite similar to this one. This is a larger pattern and this is a smaller pattern. So if you've got some outdoors photos you want to scrapbook, gardens, florals, greeneries, then this paper suite is going to be really easy for you to create with. I also want to share with you, this pack also coordinates with this suite. It's called the Luxe White 12 by 12 inch. It's a specialty designer series paper. Now, I don't know how well this is going to show up in the camera, but it's actually got this gorgeous pattern through it. And you could cut this down and just have it as your plain Luxe White. You get 2 sheets of 3 patterns. This would be a really fun paper, specialty paper, to use your inks and your blending brushes over as well, and you could color on top of those. This one has got a little bit of a crisscross pattern, which I love. I hope you can see that in the video. Give me a thumbs up. The light is not great. I wait until later in the day, sometimes on Tuesdays, as there's lots of comings and goings in my home, and there's no one home now, which is why I waited until this afternoon to do my video. This one has got some of the lily of the valley floral pattern on here. You could even color these in with your Stampin' Blends as well if you wanted to. Okay, so I wanted to share those papers with you. I've not used them yet, but they actually form part of the collection. So let's now get into showing you the technique that I want to teach you today. So this, using the Rounded Rectangle Punch for your scrapbook layouts, it's perfect for cards. As you can see here, you can also purchase the punch and a stamp set together as a bundle. So you can get the punch on its own, or you can buy the bundle. And you can see here that this stamp set coordinates with the punch. So this is a stamp border, and then you can actually stamp inside here. And you can also use the punch as I've done here with this card. I've actually punched that out in some white willow. We've stamped happy birthday to you. So the stamp set actually fits inside the rounded rectangular punch that you're going to punch out. Okay, so the thing I love about this set is it's great for both card making and scrapbooking. So you're getting better bang for your buck. Okay, but I really wanted to show you how to use this punch on your scrapbook layouts to create an embellishment cluster. So this works well if you're using leftovers from your scrapbooking workshop kit, or you might not have any stickers or embellishments that go particularly with the suite that you're working with, or you might not have a lot of. Okay, so in this case, by punching out some of these rounded rectangular shapes and creating a little cluster, I've actually been able to create a focal point, and I've only used 2 stickers left over from my sticker sheet on my scrapbooking workshop kit, and then I finished them off with a little bit of the bling. Okay, now this is a great way where you don't have to be sticker heavy, and you can use paper for your embellishments as well. Okay, which also would be a really great cost saving opportunity too. Now these little gems, these are the shimmering dots. These shimmering dots actually coordinate with this particular suite. So last week I showed you how to use the iridescent pearls and how to use your stamping blends to color the white pearls in. If you didn't want to do that technique, but you still want to bling up your scrapbook pages, you might want to consider investing in a pack of the shimmering dots, because Coastal Cabana, this looks like granny apple green, and you've got plain white, and they do have a little bit of gold speckle shimmer on the dots. These would be a great pack for you to invest in if you're wanting to embellish your scrapbook layouts. Okay, so I want to demonstrate this punch to you. Here is some of the Coastal Cabana. I actually punched out some Coastal Cabana because I was going to use this on the layout, and then I decided to go with the Pretty Peacock instead. Now, if you're not sure what colors to use, please make sure you reference in your catalogue when there is a suite collection that is launched by Stampin' Up. Our fabulous design team actually include the color palette that makes up the suite collection. So we've got here Lemon Lime Twist, Granny Apple Green, Garden Green, Pretty Peacock, Coastal Cabana, and Blackberry Bliss, which is my nail color for this month. my nail lady, she's so funny. She's like, what papers are we working with this month, Sarah? So I take my catalogue along and I try to pair that up. I think I did a pretty good job this month, girls, with the Blackberry Bliss. Now, typically I will pick 3 colours to work with. You can see I've used the Mossy Meadow, Garden Green. I got that wrong. Darling Duckling and the Blackberry Bliss. But I did bring in the Pretty Peacock, okay? And I think it's okay if we want to throw a 4th colour in. I've got some cardstock here. I'm going to do the Pretty Peacock again, actually. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim down a strip of the cardstock for you. Now, I need to remember what the measurements were of these. Let me just quickly measure this. I want to have, you can see here, the measurements are on the website. If I cut my paper at maybe 2.5, just to give me a little bit of room, I'm going to cut a strip of paper at 2.5 inches here. And this means I'm not going to be wasting paper when I'm using my punch. So that's the first tip that I want to give you there. I'm just going to pop that in my trimmer. I'm going to cut that down at 2.5 inches. And then with your punch, the thing I love about this, there's a little interlocking device on the back. So then you can actually store these in your craft shelves if you want to. This is only the 2nd punch I think I've invested in since I've started with Stampin' Up. But this one I know I'll get a lot of use for. So I'm just going to slide that down, and that clasp releases the punch and it opens it up, okay? So it makes for easy storage, but also transportation if you're bringing your punches to my workshops. So the fun thing with this is I'm going to start at one end. So I'm going to get my cardstock and I'm going to slide that in so I'm covering the punch. And then when I clasp that, that grips onto the paper, and you may need 2 hands to then follow that through, okay, just with a little bit of strength. And then what I like to do is then turn that around and cut at the other end, because you can see here I'm going to need to cut that off in a minute, but I'll do that shortly. I'm going to turn that around and cut it at the other end. So I'm going to tip that over. What I would suggest you do, I've actually had this punch catch a couple of times. Let me just grab my scissors. We've got the Snips scissors back. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this excess off now that we're not using. What I recommend you do when you're punching is, before you release that, actually tip the rectangle out like so, okay? Because I have found that a couple of times the paper has actually got caught inside the punch, and I've managed to get it out, but it's a little annoying. So to close that punch up, all I have to do is press that down and then slide that clasp across, and then it will lock my punch in place, okay? Now, oh, excuse me. The really cool thing here, so I've actually used some Stampin' Dimensionals, and I've popped that up, so I've made my little cluster. So I've got 2, let's do the dark one. So I've probably got them about 1/4 of an inch in the page. And then I've done another one just in the middle here like so. Now, what I did do, because this is 2-tone cardstock and that punch is very sharp, it is going to, as you can see here, hopefully in the video, it is going to show that white core of that cardstock. So I thought, you know what would be fun? Let's actually make that a focal point. So I got out my little sandpaper square. Now, if you don't have a little sandpaper square like this, you can use the inside of your Snips scissors. And all I've done is just slightly sandpapered off the edge of the squares, just to rough it up a little bit. And then when you've stuck this, when you stick this on the page like so, and I've lifted that with the dimensionals, you can see that stands out really nicely, okay? Have I used the darker side or the lighter side of that? Oh, I've used the lighter side of the Pretty Peacock. There we go. So I should probably turn that over a little bit. So, I mean, look, you could even just pop down to Bunnings, girls, and grab a little square of sandpaper. That might even have some samples there. You want to be careful if you have got acrylic or shellac on your nails, because I have been known to sandpaper that off. Now, see how I've gone over the edge there and I've just sandpapered that little white bit there? That's totally fine. It's not meant to be perfect. It's meant to look rustic. And you can see that's just going to help to pop that and stand that out slightly as well, okay? So if you were to invest in the rectangle rounded punch, you could certainly get lots of uses out of this punch for both your scrapbooking layouts and of course your cards as well. And you can use that in all of the cardstock and the designer series paper. There's something else I wanted to show you. Oh yes, I want to show you these neutral papers. Okay, so this is actually a new addition to Stampin' Up! This year. And if you've got your catalogue, I will post a link. If you've got your catalogue, right at the back of your catalogue, you've got all of the Stampin' Up! Colour collections. Okay, so we've got subtles, brights, regals, neutrals, and then we have our in colours. Now, if you were at my open house, you would have seen me display this in colour pack. If we come one page back, it's actually here. It shows you here the designer series paper stack and the in colours. Now, if you're getting the in colours, you are going to get 2 sheets of each pattern because there's only 5 colours. Sorry, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 5 colours in the in colours. You will get enough to do a double page spread of each of these. Now, you can also purchase this designer series paper stack in each of these colour collections. So if you've got leftover designer series paper from a scrapbooking workshop kit, right, or cardstock, and you just want to bulk up some pattern paper with your leftovers, you could actually get one of each of the colour collections and you could use these designer series papers for anything. They're super universal. You need to turn over one page and you will see here on page 82 all the designer series paper stacks for each of the colour collections. So subtles, brights, regals and neutrals. It's got a letter N next to it, which indicates that it's new. Now, I invested in the neutrals pack first because the neutrals is going to give me all of these beautiful colours here, and the neutrals just go with everything. Now, when I was looking at bulking up the paper, I will say that in that, let me get this back out again. I wanted to use Blackberry Bliss, but when I bought this second pack of designer series paper, there's very little Blackberry Bliss in here, and I really wanted to use that color. So what I did was I went to my website, my online store. I used the search function. I typed in the word Blackberry Bliss and this popped up, and I was like, oh my gosh, Sarah, you are a genius. I can use the Neutrals Designer Series pack and I can bring in this gorgeous Blackberry Bliss color. So I'm going to open this up for you. So it's got all of those neutral colors in there. This would be a great pack to start with. So this is the gray, and I'm just going to show you. Yes, so you only get 1 sheet of each of the patterns. So you've got your dots on one side, you've got your stripes on the other, and then you've got the bigger dots and the bigger stripes on the other page. So you're not going to be able to make a double page spread with it if you use subtles, brights, neutrals or regals. However, if you buy the in colors, you will be able to make a double page spread because there's only 5 colors, so you get 2 sheets of each of the pattern paper. So I hope that makes sense. This is the Misty Moonlight, and then that's Mossy Meadow. Smoky Slate. One is Smoky Slate and the other is Basic Grey. Here's the Pecan Pie. So you really could use these, girls, for anything. I know some of my ladies, they've got boys and grandsons, and they're like, oh, we need more like boy theme papers. 100% I hear you. And don't you worry, we are popping that in the suggestion box all the time. But these neutrals would be great to bulk up with some of those other papers. So we've got Crumb Cake, or maybe that's Smoky Slate. Oh, there's Grey Granite and Basic Grey, and then the Smoky Slate. And then we've got the Early Espresso. Okay, that's what I had left of the Blackberry Bliss. So if you're looking to bulk your papers up and use them with other designer series paper, this is definitely going to be a great pack for you to invest in. As you can see here, I've used that through there and my leftovers from my scrapbooking workshop kit. So I hope you have enjoyed the technique I have shared with you this week. I will pop links to all of the products I've shared with you in the comments below. I may not get to this now until tomorrow, as I'm hosting a dinner here this evening and we'll need to get into the kitchen and start cooking very shortly. But on the catalogue on pages 12 and 13, this is some samples of the Rounded Rectangle Punch and then the coordinating stamp set as well. So you can get it on your own. It's called the Exciting Times Bundle. You can get the stamp or the punch on their own, or you can get it as a bundle at 10% off. You can see here they've done some quick and easy cards using this. I love this one here. And you probably will see me using this punch a lot more in my scrapbooking layouts as well. So I hope you enjoyed this week's Technique Tuesday, girls. Thank you so much for watching, for those of you that joined live. And I will be looking forward to seeing your layouts this week. I also am going to be drawing the June winner this week. I hope to do that tomorrow or Thursday, and I'll be gifting $75 in stamping rewards as a thank you for staying inspired while I was gone all of June. Have a great week, everyone. I can't wait to see what you create. Bye for now.